Welcome to the Cyber Tech Podcast, inside the minds of everyday IT and cyber pros. Your host, Mike Fierros, will dive deep into the world of IT and cybersecurity, bringing you the stories and insights of professionals who are making waves in the field. From how they got started, to their most exciting projects, and their advice for aspiring tech enthusiasts, we cover it all. So, whether you're an industry veteran or just getting started, join us as we explore the fascinating minds behind the technology that shapes our world. Let's get started.
How's it going? It's Mike again, Cyber Tech Podcast, inside the minds of everyday IT and cyber pros. And this is your first time listening to this podcast. Make sure you like and follow this podcast wherever you're listening to it. Appreciate it and the support. And then this episode is episode number 13. And the gentleman I'm going to have you guys is a colleague of mine and a really awesome person. Work with him a lot here at GlobalMac IT, my current employer. His name is Austin Ryskamp. He is a help desk agent number 2 at GlobalMac IT. How's it going, Austin?
Going good, man. Not bad at all. Day's been pretty medium, not too crazy.
Nice.
Which is a good thing in my world. Yeah.
I appreciate you being on the podcast, Austin. Like previously, we've interviewed Sam and Ben on this podcast, and I definitely want to get you on here because you have a lot of experience not only in IT but also you do some media stuff. You also do a lot of music stuff. So I think having you on here, you can kind of see the not just the IT stuff that you do, but also you kind of blend those things in as well. And I appreciate you being on the podcast, man.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's kind of a lot of the audio world is kind of how I ended where I am now. So
nice. That's awesome. Austin, kind of explain yourself a little bit about yourself, how you got started in IT.
Yeah, I started in, I guess, let's just say techie things is kind of really how I did.
Nice.
My IT venture. So I actually was doing sound for a church here called Kensington Community Church, and was interning with them on their arts team. And was helping out a lot with like video and things like that. This is like while I was growing up, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I was always doing something musical with them. And then I went and helped out a company called Portable Church Industries, where I was a consultant for them and doing some church planning and audio visual specking and things like that. And
Nice.
A good friend of mine named Gary Solden, shout out, he's a solid guy. He's a cybersecurity guy over at Ascension Medical. It's a hospital here in Michigan. But he did a pass at Hewlett-Packard with a co-op program there. They don't offer it anymore, and I swear I wish they did because I have so many friends. They're like, man, I really want to get into IT, but like it's so hard. The doors are kind of heavy. And I got to do this co-op there at Hewlett-Packard. So it was just really hard to really get decent or how do I want to say it? Just consistent checks within the world of music, and it's a lot of gig work. I mean, and so I was really looking to settle down, start a family, and I ended up at Hewlett Packard, and I don't know, I've puddle jumped since then, but yeah, it was a cool little co-op program, kind of school for half the day, and then helped out. It's called Modus. I think it's actually called like DXC now. Anyways, yeah, that's kind of my journey so far.
Nice. That's interesting. I didn't know that HP had some kind of co-op program like that. I think that those are really important to get people in the field and kind of help them out as far as like education and whatnot. That's really cool.
Yeah. It was my buddy Gary did it first, and his brother did it before him. And yeah, I was literally the last year of it. Another friend of mine, Josh, that I'm still good friends with now, came into it. We were just kind of laughing about it over this last weekend about how he just missed it. It was weird. They did like a buyout to a different company, and now,
nice.
It was awesome as it lasted, though. I tell you what, it got my feet wet, certainly.
Austin, how did that, going through the HP Hewlett-Packard co-op program, how did that kind of set you up for success as far as like getting into IT, your first IT role, and finally get into the swing of things? I know you mentioned you did some second things before at church and music related media stuff and whatnot, but how did that kind of set you up along with the HP co-op program to get into that IT industry?
Yeah, so the biggest thing that they did there is sure, you're learning things like different OSs and how products talk to each other, how different products. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess we'll just relay back to how they talk to each other. I think it's kind of the biggest thing and kind of like what you'll learn just being on the job. Like if anyone just says, "Hey, Mike, I'm hiring you tomorrow. You've never done any IT in your life, but you're like kind of a techie guy. You're just like interested in it. You figure it out after a bit, right? Like obviously,
True.
you're like, oh wait, I see like this thing, I plug this in and now this works and this talks to this and whatever. But someone mapping it out, what literally there's mappings of at least Windows OS and some of their products and like how they work. So just
Nice.
super basic cable diagrams and things like that they would just kind of walk through, like, hey, if this is broken, why? And then they would kind of reverse engineer that with you. Like even just their own thought process. The teacher, his name was Doug, and he was just great. What a solid. I wouldn't call him a mentor of
Nice.
mine. I don't really do life with him anymore, but just a really solid guy that was already working for HP Direct that would do a lot of the classes
Nice.
there. And yeah, just reverse engineer the whole thing. He would give you an issue, and literally this is how we spent our days. You would see an issue, a product, or either a break fix or whatever. It wasn't a lot of tearing anything apart, but just kind of, hey, this is how I would do it, and then we would all converse about oh, why wouldn't we ask this, or oh, why wouldn't we check this way? It was really cool, really free form.
That's really cool. That I didn't. I think that's a good approach, especially especially those folks not having a lot of experience and whatnot, but kind of having a program like that, kind of go through those different scenarios, and especially with teamwork. Both IT and cybersecurity requires a lot of teamwork. I think that I think that's awesome that you went through that, Austin. How long were you in that program again?
Yeah, so it was 9 months, and then actually got
Nice.
hired on direct afterward. You had an option to apply afterward. Not everyone got hired, but yeah, I got to actually come
Nice.
onto my buddy's team and help out with that. And so it was 9 month program, and I literally and it's so hard. I've actually been kind of trying to look at it because it was called Modus. It's not even. I can't find it anymore, Mike. I have no idea where that.
No worries.
It's like it never existed. I don't even know. It's so wild. It's just because the companies got bought and then DXC took over.
True.
I get it, but yeah.
No, I think that's a good program you went through, Austin, and those folks listening to this particular episode right now. Austin went through a program like that. It'd be definitely awesome to see if you guys listening to see if there's any programs in your area, whether it be a college or in high school or some kind of city program to kind of get your feet wet a little bit and see if there's any IT, maybe computer repair classes you could take, set you up for CompTIA stuff or something, just to kind of get the education in and kind of set the foundation and whatnot.
Yeah, 100%. And something I'll add on to that too is that it really helped me because I was going to school and I did graduate just with like an associate's, just a 2-year, because that HP opening co-op I got accepted for that because you did have to put in for it. But I don't know, I was just literally going to go to school for like computer science because I wasn't sure. Like I'm 33. So really at that time, and I mean, you can probably nod to this too, any kind of computer courses, even when I was in college, which wasn't even that long ago, still it wasn't super diverse. Like it was just like one thing at the community college. It was just called computer science. And I'm so glad I didn't do that because that's what my wife does. My wife does computer science and she builds websites all day. That's not me, man. You know what I mean? Like I don't like that. I don't like building websites. I'm not interested in that. So I'm super glad that I didn't do that, but having the foresight was really, again, Doug, that he was kind of letting me know, like, hey, man, know at least what you're good at and what gives you life and, like, what's fun to do for you. And then the pursue angle, we can talk about that. So, he was letting me know, oh, you like more hardware stuff? Okay, well, really, you're looking to be probably more of like a site support guy or someone really that's like working in maybe even like a little bit of engineering with it, things like that. So he really helped me guide my own internal thought process of what I'm just kind of wired to do. Because I guess that's the thing I'll backpack on that is just like, I don't know, a lot of people go in IT and they just go, they see computer science and they're like, oh, that's the one. And then you're like, whoa, no. And the college will take your money, man. They'll let you do whatever the heck you want. Like, oh, you want to do computer science? Cool. There's not going to be someone there that's going to be like, hey, but this is what the field looks like. So it's it's definitely interesting.
I think that's really good. You had like a mentor type person with your friend right there, Austin, to kind of show you kind of the way, and kind of guide you a little bit, because like you mentioned, especially those community college days, it's like back when we're going to college, it's like, yeah, there's computer science, but there's anything specific like training for help desk support or training for system admin or there's courses like that, but nothing. It was general, nothing too specific, but I think that's awesome to have a good person right next to you and kind of guide you as you're going through that stuff. I think that's really cool. Austin, what does your day look like at GlobalMac IT as a help desk agent? What's your your workload as you're going through the day?
So I'm taking first calls. People like talking to me, Mike. I don't know why. I don't get it. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm the face. I'm like, I'm what's making us look pretty. No, so like, I mean, no, like when people call in, I just first off, I see myself kind of as like a it sounds ridiculous, but honestly, like a lot of first call triage work is really just hearing the pulse of the scenario and hearing someone's heart and being able to hear past someone's anger, frustration. No one ever calls when they're happy, Mike. No one. You know what I mean? No one.
Yeah.
No one's like, Austin, dude, I missed you. I wanted to call and talk to you. No, it's like, hey, everything is wrong. Like, can I talk to you? So just being able to hear past that has definitely been a learned process. That was not, I don't know, 12 years ago or whatever when I was starting to do some of that. That was definitely not the case then. Every single time it was like a blow. It would kind of like diminish me. I'm like, oh, dude, like that person hates me. But no, they don't, Mike. They don't hate me. They hate their scenario. So really my job and what I feel like I'm doing is really just coming along someone or aside someone, maybe make them laugh a little bit, help them through their day. And nothing I really gets too crazy. But I really, it looks like, some phone calls, answering phone calls, jumping on their device with them, tickets, we get support tickets in also, getting on the line with them. I just like making people's days better.
Nice.
It's a big support to be able to help someone like that. So
yeah, and it kind of reshapes. You mentioned about kind of coming alongside the user that kind of put in the ticket. It kind of reassures them like, hey, Austin really cares, and he's not he's not just joking around, but making me feel better. Normally when they call IT support, it's like, oh man, crap, I have to call IT support. I have to put a ticket in. Man, they don't want to deal with necessarily the demeanor over the phone is a little bit different. They can't gauge on how they're doing. They can't follow the instructions, or the instructions aren't clear. And I think your approach, Austin, is, I like how you said that, you're coming alongside them rather than, hey, do this, and do this, but having that human element. And I think that's one of the big, coming to IT, whether in IT or cybersecurity, I think that human element is so important because, they're humans too. And they put their pants and socks on left and right like we do too. And so to remember that, especially in the service desk, IT support, help desk support, they're not mad at me specifically, but they're mad at the situation. And then when you fix that issue, like you always do, Austin, when you fix that issue, they feel a lot better. Their demeanor changes, and I love that feeling of kind of someone in stuck in the mud as far as like a tech issue they're having and whatnot, and then all of a sudden you help them, and their demeanor just changes 180. Like it's such an awesome feeling to have and whatnot. And I think that's really important, especially for those that listen to this podcast right now, trying to figure out how do I get into IT. And I always tell folks, service desk, help desk, support desk, because you touch all the cloud apps and all the technologies, networking, everything. And I think that's a good way to start and get in there. Is not only the soft skills that you mentioned, but also the technical skills as far as like the cloud apps. You might be on-prem doing stuff. How important it is to kind of learn that craft, as if you will, to put that in your tool bag?
Yeah. So if I'm looking, I guess, what am I popping in my tool bag to be able to be ready for something like that? What have I gained in knowledge? I have been in the field for a while. This is, help desk for me, actually, this role is very simplistic, which is awesome. We have a huge, actually Ben's been on here before too, but me and Ben, Jeremy, you, Sam, just a lot of knowledge between that all. But I mean, yeah, like, anytime something comes up on the board and it's maybe a tool I don't know. Oh, hey, we're going with Cisco, now. Oh, we're going with this new rack now. Sure, yeah, jumping onto YouTube and just watching a little video about how it works and things like that is a big deal. Now, do I think that it's needed for something like this beforehand? I don't know. If I'm trying to get into something, if I'm trying to get into IT, especially at the role that I do, right? That's what we're referencing here. I think the soft skills are so much more important. Just being able to come alongside someone, break it down for them too, right? Like, we're not trying to be Einstein over here. That's not my purpose. I am not supposed to be Einstein. I'm not supposed to be like, hey, E equals MC squared.
True.
This is busted. And they're going to be like, I don't know what you just said. That's not my purpose. My purpose is to be like, hey, this isn't working. I feel that it's not working, and I know that you're upset about it. Now let's go ahead and together try to figure this out. I don't usually like come to the table and being like, this is what's wrong, even if I see it right away. My approach is way more of helping them understand where they found, like, it's almost like they found it themselves. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, look, the settings right here. Oh, let's go ahead and look through. Oh, it's the privacy setting. Oh, crazy. Okay, yeah, let's check that out. I think that, I'm not trying to teach everyone either. Like, I'm not trying to hold them hostage, and everyone has work. But I think when it comes down to it, the approach of helping someone to the conclusion is really nice. So needing the hard skills of, honestly, it's just knowing. I would say the biggest hard skill is how to actually Google correctly. Hear me on that. Because that is a thing. That is such a thing. And it's similar to calculator class instead of math, right? So there are processes that we know in math that we use in a calculator class. I don't even know if a calculator class exists, but if it did, that's how it would work, right? So in the same way, we maybe understand how things are connected, but being able to Google exactly, or be able to search, or be able to go to a form and to know exactly what to look up is based on us, first off, walking with them, and then looking at it and being like, okay, I maybe don't know exactly what this is, but I know enough to be able to form search and actually get a good result. Getting bad results happens more often than good results. I mean, you know about that. So
no, I think that's a really good approach as far as like troubleshooting and stuff like that. Especially those folks trying to get into the IT and the cybersecurity fields, to have that human element and whatnot, like you mentioned. I think that's really, really, really good, Austin. Since you've been in the IT field, what's kind of your favorite project that you took on? One of your one of the projects you took on in your career so far that's like, yeah, I really like that. I really love what I did right there. I think that's going to make a real impact. What would you say is your favorite so far, at least?
So far, I actually started my own company too for consulting.
Nice.
It's called Ryskamp Tech Solutions. But I've always been doing consulting for a long time. So it's just something I kind of do with my dad. But yeah, we do, I set up relationships with different vendors to try to get companies to not get cheapskated. Like, seriously, there are so many times when older companies, like, let's say, a grandpa still owns this construction company. Man, I need phones for my company. They call them up and they get absolutely penny nickel dimed. Like, it's crazy. So a lot of what I do here, or what I do there, for that, is just come beside them and like go, okay, this is what you actually need. This is what they're trying to sell you. So it's consulting in a way of just like, again, like a human form of like, hey, you might not know about this stuff, and like, you can pay me a little bit of money and I'll just help you understand it so you don't get screwed over. So that's kind of, that's like, that's what I do. And I really have a lot of pride about that, because I have a lot of family members that have just gotten absolutely hosed in the years past. And, so that's kind of, that's a big part. I think it would say almost like my heart in IT is like to help people.
I think
Yeah, no
that's really
problem.
cool, Austin. Yeah, for sure. That's something I guess that we don't really think about sometimes, and folks out there or businesses out there that need to upgrade something or need consulting on something, but they're not too sure of how to go about it, especially technology, and they just want to run their company. They don't want to deal with technology, and they want someone else to help them with that. And I think that's really good. Even for the
Mhm.
folks listening right now, that's something you guys can consider. Austin does, kind of helping people, small businesses in general, kind of helping them with IT consulting. Hey, I want to upgrade the fleet of Windows or Mac computers I have in my business. I don't want to deal with it. I need to pay someone to help me deal with that. So I don't make sure I don't mess it up. And that way the business owner and whatnot just deals with the business and whatnot. I think that's a really good, I think that's a really good way for folks that are listening to kind of, think about maybe even being, IT consulting, kind of like what you do on the side, Austin. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's a great. I would definitely say. I mean, that's definitely a side gig, but it's definitely
For sure.
something where it's like you gain this knowledge from like what
Yeah.
we do, Mike. Right? I mean, you do a
Sure.
different role, but you've done what I've done, and
Yeah.
that role you gain a lot, right? Like just like
You do.
you absorb, right? So like all these different
Mm.
tools that you're in, these different conversations you're having. Oh, we're actually looking to upgrade our phones. Oh, we're actually looking for this product. Oh, and then you yourself start kind of searching those products and start looking into them. And you just kind of start gaining knowledge about like, oh, this is a good product. This is how much it goes for, whatever. So it's like being able to relay that to people, even
Mm.
outside of it is I didn't realize, but my dad was saying he's like, dude, there's so many people that would, just really like someone that
Yeah.
is trustworthy to be able to give them that information. So yeah, we went into business together. We're pretty young, about 7 months old, but yeah, we've been doing well.
Nice. That's awesome. That you and your dad kind of linked up to do that. I think that's really is he also in tech too, Austin?
No, he is the best person on the phone you'll ever talk to in your whole life, Mike.
Oh, nice.
You could call him up right now and be like, "Hey, we're gonna do a podcast," and he'd be like, "Yep, sounds good." You get
Nice.
no notes, nothing. He could just go. So he cares about people a lot. He's got a
That's
great
really cool.
heart, and so he loves helping with that. So a lot of the phone call stuff he does.
Plus, you guys have spent time together. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, hate that guy. No, just kidding. No, he's the best. I love man. He's awesome. He's too cool.
And Austin, on your spare time, I know you mentioned you do music stuff on the side. You had done stuff on the side as far as music. Do you kind of do that still as far as like on the side
Oh
to kind of?
yeah. Oh man, it's life giving. I mean, dude, if I didn't do music, I'd probably be going insane. I I love. I mean, it's just such an expression of just myself. I mean, I do a lot of
Mm,
worship leading and stuff like that still, but
nice,
do a lot of music, just like studio work stuff, drumming on a track for a buddy. But yeah, I drum and sing. I've been doing that for a long, long time, and
nice.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't think I'll ever be able to stop it because yes, the field that we work in can be extremely stressful. It really can be.
Yeah,
And just, I mean, like any job, dude. I mean, it's like being able to balance that is a huge
true.
deal. But I think something that I don't even know how to word this correctly, but in our field, there's a lot of times a response that we have. It's not so much that we have something always on our schedule. It's almost like, hey, oh, this happened. Okay, well, I'm here to fix it. So I mean, we do have some errors sometimes, like within this job, which
Yeah,
is really nice. And the error that we get, I like to use it in, yeah, I'm always seeing my computer. I got it right here, but I'll go over
yeah,
to like a drum set behind me, play for a little bit, wait until a call comes in, keeping my
nice.
chops going, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, for sure.
yeah, yeah.
For those trying to get into IT and cybersecurity, or even those already in the industries, to remember to kind of take breaks, take a break, take a walk. You mentioned you kind of play with your drums a little bit to kind of relax a little bit and kind of take a break. Austin, I think
Hmm.
anything that it's just such a good reminder to be like, okay, let me stand up, maybe play the guitar, or maybe make some hot tea or whatever, whatever it may be. Just kind of ease yourself, and but you're right. There's times where it's like all hands on deck. We need to get stuff done. You get these tickets closed, and
Hmm.
There's other times, like you mentioned, depending on the organization, or you work remotely or on prem, it's like it depends on what you're doing. But you definitely want to take those breaks. And I think, like you mentioned, Austin, those breaks are really important one.
Yeah, especially because I mean we're in the business of trying to make smiles, so it's like, and
True.
and that business is, it's it is so tiring. I love what I do, right? I love making people happy, but then stating that it's not tiring would be insane,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just recognizing that you're like, okay, I've been giving myself a lot to people today,
Mm.
like, and just understanding what that battery looks like is a big deal.
Since you work fully remotely at GlobalMac IT, has there been a huge? I know there's a huge difference. Can you kind of explain the huge difference between working fully remote for a remote team organization versus maybe working on prem for those that listen to this podcast that might be working on prem and they may want to they're looking for other positions out there. Maybe they want to go into remote work, kind of like what we do at our team. What's
Yeah.
that transition look like for someone that may be interested in that?
Yeah, so first, I guess I'll spell out what both are, right?
Mm,
And then the transition will make more sense. So the on-prem is usually some kind of site support guy a lot of times too. And if you're not, if you're just like in some building and you're doing help desk stuff, you're still going to be site support for other people there that are, accountants or, whoever is else is sharing the office. And really what comes with that in the on-prem situation is kind of this no boundaries scenario. So since we are a 911 line, let's call it, right, and people
mhm,
need us to be able to finish their job, a lot of times we'll get just a door knocker, and not even the door knocker where they just walk in, hey, I need you right now. So it doesn't really matter what you're doing. A lot of times it'll, toss you off track. So being able to be quick on your feet in
mm,
that and just be able to have a smile and like, okay, I can come back to this if that's possible. But there is a huge difference being on site of just being able to
mm.
dissect in this almost instantly. Some
Yeah.
kid knocks on your door and you're working at a school. Hey, I threw my iPad into the toilet, and then you're like, oh crap, and then some other teacher, hey, I can't put this presentation up. Just to discern really quick,
Mm,
hey, what's a bigger deal? Which it is a big difference than being, fully remote. Fully remote, it's a phone call,
true.
it's an email, it's a Slack message. We do get stuff that's like urgent, but the urgency isn't someone just standing right there in your face, like,
Yeah.
hey, I need you right now, come with me, and it's like, ah, crap, all right, it sounds good. So I think there's a huge difference in that. And I something for me that I was actually worried about was that I would be almost too relaxed being full remote. And I would almost put
Mm,
urgency on that because kind of like, an athlete who's taking reps and taking swings at the
mm.
ball. If you're not taking swings at the ball and then someone calls in and you're rusty and you foul tip it or whatever, I mean that's on you. So you
True.
yourself, you have to stay prepped. You have to be ready instead of the constant reps of being on site. So I would
Mm,
say that I think I'm sharper on site, but off site, fully remote, I have gained a similar sharpness now at this point. It took me a little bit
mm.
though. I think
Yeah.
I don't know how to
Yeah.
state that.
Before, like the last company I worked for, last MSP I worked for, I before that, on my whole career, I worked on prem, for different organizations. And you're right, Austin. Working remotely, you don't have to worry about people knocking on your office door, like, hey, Austin, I'm having issues down the hall. Can you
Mhm.
help me fix? I have a paper jam. Can you see what's up with it? We don't have
Mhm.
those kind of like distractions as far as like, although they could be a good distraction, kind of get off your chair and whatnot. And so we're more focused remotely as far as like the tasks or tickets at hand or the project at hand that we're working on. We don't have those kind of distractions, but remotely does bring up new distractions. But I think you hit it on the dot. The analogy you had about being an athlete and not being rusty and kind of exercising yourself, if you will, and your skills and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
whether it be doing a free certification or some online training or seminar or whatever it may be, that's kind of or even just reading about stuff as far as stuff in the tech industry, cybersecurity industry. it kind of sharpens and hones your skills and whatnot. I think that's really good advice, Austin, even for those like us and other folks listening to this podcast right now, this episode, that do work remotely. It's kind of like a reminder, like, hey, make sure, yeah, we're remotely. We have not a lot, maybe a lot necessary free time, but like, use your time wisely. Be diligent and be disciplined enough to for the workload and get your work done. And what I think that's a really good explanation right there for sure.
Yeah, discipline. That's a great add-on to that, what you just said.
For sure.
Certainly, I think discipline. And I'm a huge people guy, man. I love working next to people and everything like that. But
Yeah, me too. I hear you.
thing, yeah, but another thing though that you just said, which is so accurate, is just like the laser focus that you can have remote is so true. Like, yes,
Yeah.
like there could be a call that comes in while you're working on something or whatever, and you'll have probably another guy that can grab it too. Like, oh, I'm deep into this, I'm looking at it. It is just you can just pound out one ticket a lot of times. I would say more often than not. You can look at one issue and really tackle it. Instead of when you're on site a lot of times, especially in like a site support capacity, you are getting arm ripped left and right.
Yeah, for sure.
which honestly, if I'm being real, I think every single tech should do site support at a time to be able to understand it.
I agree.
They need to understand what the pacing is. They need to understand what other people are going through, because if you go right into a remote role like what we do, you don't understand the urgency, even if you want
That's
to.
true.
It's the credit card of cash money. That's what my dad says. Hey, you guys just use plastic these days. You don't even know what that value is on the other side of that. So it's like someone calls in and you don't fully see the value. I mean, and that's just being frank. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm just being honest. And I have seen that with different techs through the years. So it's just, having site support, it might be rough. And some places you work at, it could be really rough. It depends on where you're at. But getting that knowledge, I think, is just, oh my gosh. I think it's better than any cert. I couldn't even tell you. It's just so good. I mean,
Oh yeah, and then not only that, like, you get to know people's demeanor, different roles, how the organization runs. You might work for an hospital, school district, and police department, and they're all different industries, or maybe a steel company or something like that. So you kind of gain that knowledge and you move it forward to your next position or your next organization you work for. And I think you're right. There's nothing like using the break room, getting done with your lunch, walking towards the IT office again, and someone hearing say, "Austin, Mike, hey, before you go, where are you going?" "Oh, I'm going back. I'm coming back from lunch." "Oh, if you have a second, can you come back to engineering and help me with my printer because it's having issues?" Like, to have that experience and figuring out how to talk to people like in a way where it's like they're not gonna get angry and frustrated. It's gonna help a lot, and you're gonna appreciate that when you do work remotely. I think that's a really good gem you throw out right there, Austin, for that.
Yeah, it's something that I kind of noticed because this is actually my first full remote role. I've been hybrid at a couple of places, but it's definitely been. You just feel the urgency. Someone calls in, you're like, oh, you're in a meeting. That means that there are people that are in the building that you are presenting to, or you're on a Zoom call that you are presenting to. Maybe they dressed up. You got to feel the urgency of what, they've been planning for this. They've been, getting their slides ready and whatever, and now it just doesn't work. So it's like having the background of, or even just seeing it firsthand, where they come knock at your door and it looks like they just fell into a river because they're sweating so hard because they're freaking out.
True.
And you're like, okay. So gaining that has definitely, I would say that was invaluable. It was gold experience, certainly.
If you could describe your IT support in a movie title, what would it be and why?
Movie title. Gone in 60 Seconds. No,
No,
I don't know. I don't actually know. Maybe. I'm pretty dang quick.
That's good.
Even I like to talk to people, but I mean, I do, obviously, like I was just stating, know the urgency a lot of times too. So whatever. Yeah, let's keep with that. Gone in 60 seconds. You call me, baby. We're in and out. We're in and out. Yeah.
We got you.
Yeah.
Who would play you? Who would play you, Austin? Do you have any? Have any celebrities that would play you or actors that like, yeah, I want him to play me one day.
Dang. Well, the only thing that's coming to my head is what people say I look like, and I don't even agree with this. People say I look like Statham just because I'm bald. Yeah, everyone always
Oh,
just goes,
okay.
you're a bald guy, and then they go, oh, you look like that guy. Statham would not be
I
an
feel you.
IT support guy. They wouldn't do that, Mike. So I don't. Let's see. It'd probably be like some nerd. It would be like who's the guy that was in the Facebook movie? Who was Zuckerberg?
Oh man, I know you're talking about. Oh, I totally forgot the
Someone like
guy's name
that.
now. Okay, I see.
Yeah. You know what
I
I
can
mean? I
imagine.
don't know.
I can imagine. I can imagine Jason Statham was like, "Hello, do you need help?"
you'd be like, am I in trouble? And you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, that guy.
Do you need help? You need IT support? Yeah.
Yeah, oh, that's right. He's British. I forgot about that. Actually,
this guy?
maybe I'll
No.
try out. I'm gonna do that. I'm going to Super Troopers my next like 10 calls, and I'm gonna.
Oh, there we
throw in
go.
some British accents. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be funny.
No, that's funny. No. Is there any shout outs you want to give, Austin? And also, how can if folks want to kind of reach out to you as far as like maybe even getting some IT career advice, how would they reach out to you?
Yeah. So personal email, Ryskamp Austin. That's just RYSKAMP, and then Austin@gmail.com. Is really where I have a lot of friends and stuff like that will email me questions of like, hey, like what path should I go down? It's kind of like a RPG video game or something for IT. Because I've certainly walked a couple different paths. So yeah, that's certainly fine. And then company website. Honestly, we're just using the Facebook, baby.
Nice.
Which has been doing really good. So it's just Ryskamp Tech Solutions, and it's a Facebook account. So yeah, if anyone ever needs any consulting or anything like that, certainly there for you. So
yeah, definitely. I'll make sure I put that on this episode's show notes. That way people can reach out to you, Austin. Thanks again, Austin, to be on the podcast, man. You gave us a lot of gems, had a great time, and thank you, man. It's definitely going to help people into IT or even pursue, keep pushing their IT career and whatnot.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. It was a good time.
All right, guys, you listen to the CyberTech Podcast, Inside the Minds of Everyday IT and Cyber Pros, episode number 13 in the books. Austin Ryskamp, he's a help desk agent number 2 at GlobalMac IT.